The idea of working harder on yourself than you do on your job is one of the most powerful principles Jim Rohn ever shared. On the surface, it might sound a bit strange. After all, we've been conditioned to believe that hard work at our job is the path to success. Put in the hours, show up on time, do what's expected, and the results will come. But what Jim Rohn discovered, and what he shared with millions, is that your external world, your income, your lifestyle, your relationships, will never grow beyond your internal world. Who you are determines what you have. If you want to earn more, do more, and live better, it starts with becoming more. When you work on a job, you make a living. But when you work on yourself, you make a fortune. Think about that. Your job might give you a paycheck, but personal development gives you options. It gives you confidence. It gives you the kind of mindset that attracts opportunities. And that's the key, attraction. Success is not something you pursue, because if you chase it, it runs, it hides. It stays just out of reach. But if you grow, if you develop your mindset, your skills, your discipline, and your attitude, success begins to show up. It finds you, because you've become the kind of person success likes to hang around. Working on yourself means feeding your mind, sharpening your thinking, building emotional strength, and developing your character. It's reading books that stretch your imagination. It's listening to ideas that challenge your old beliefs. It's asking questions that force you to dig deeper. It's refusing to coast through life on yesterday's effort. You see, you don't get paid for showing up. You get paid for bringing value. And the more value you bring, the more the world responds. So, the real question is, how valuable are you becoming? You don't need to wait for someone to give you a promotion or an opportunity. You can give yourself a promotion in your own mind today, by deciding that you'll become a student of success, a student of life. And once you make that decision, everything changes. You start to see that you're in control, not the company, not the government, not the weather. You. Your thoughts, your decisions, your daily habits. Those are the real keys. And let's be honest, working on yourself is not easy. It requires honesty. It takes humility to admit there's room to grow. It takes courage to face your own limitations. But that's where the breakthrough happens. When you stop blaming the outside world and start upgrading your inner world. That's when you unlock your true potential. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive, who thrives no matter what. The truth is, your job will change. Your circumstances will shift. But if you've invested in yourself, you'll be ready. Ready to adapt. Ready to lead. Ready to seize new opportunities. And in a world that's moving fast, the best security you can ever have is personal growth. Because when you grow, you can always start again. You can rebuild, you can pivot, you can create something new. That's why working harder on yourself is the smartest investment you'll ever make. Not just for your career, but for your entire life. You'll be wiser, stronger, and more equipped to handle whatever comes your way. And the best part, no one can take that from you. Success is not something that simply shows up one day because you worked long hours or wished hard enough. Success is something you attract by the person you become. That principle, when truly understood, can completely change the way you approach your goals, your work, and your life. It shifts the focus away from chasing after results and places it firmly on developing your character, your habits, and your mindset. Because the truth is, you don't get more than you are ready for. You only receive what aligns with who you've become. There's a natural law in life that says you cannot achieve more than your current level of personal development can support. In other words, if your mindset is small, your results will be small. If your habits are weak, your outcomes will reflect that. But if you work on becoming wiser, more disciplined, more thoughtful, and more skilled, then your life starts to expand. Success begins to show up in unexpected ways because you've positioned yourself to receive it. Not because you're lucky, but because you've become the kind of person who naturally attracts better things. Jim Rohn often said that income rarely exceeds personal development. And if it does, it won't last long. That's why lottery winners often lose it all. They got more than they had become. They didn't develop the habits, mindset, or emotional discipline to handle that level of wealth. On the other hand, someone who has become valuable to the marketplace through learning, consistency, and effort will usually bounce back from any setback because their success was built on personal growth, not on chance. The idea of becoming the kind of person success is drawn to also forces you to stop focusing on things outside your control. You can't control the economy, the job market, or what other people do. But you can control how much you read, how well you listen, how hard you train, how you speak, and how you treat people. Those choices are completely in your hands. And over time, they shape the person you become. And that person shapes your destiny. It's easy to want more money, better relationships, or a healthier body. But the real question is, have you become the person who naturally has those things? A person who earns more money has usually become more valuable to their industry. A person with strong relationships has often become more loving, more understanding, and more intentional. A person in great shape has become more disciplined, more consistent, and more focused. It's not about the result. It's about who you had to become to get it. This principle also adds meaning to your journey. It's not just about grinding for a promotion or chasing a certain number in your bank account. It's about building character, strength, and maturity along the way. Every challenge becomes a chance to grow. Every failure becomes a lesson, and every day becomes an opportunity to shape your future self. That's where true confidence comes from. Not from what you have, but from who you are becoming. The great part is, this doesn't require complete life overhaul in one day. It starts with simple, daily disciplines. Read a book instead of watching TV. Practice gratitude instead of complaining. Plan your day instead of drifting through it. These little choices might seem small now, but they compound over time. And before you know it, you've become someone new. Someone who naturally attracts a higher level of success. So if your results aren't where you want them to be, don't chase harder, grow deeper. Upgrade your mindset. Build your value. And you'll find that success begins to come to you, not by force, but by attraction. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That simple idea separates the dreamers from the doers. Everyone has goals. Most people want to be healthier, wealthier, happier. But wanting something and getting it are two very different things. Discipline is what stands in the middle. It's the daily commitment, the consistent effort, the small decisions made over and over again that ultimately determine whether your goals stay wishes or become reality. It's easy to get excited about a new goal. Maybe you decide to start a business, get in shape, write a book, or save more money. That spark of inspiration feels powerful in the beginning. But the problem isn't starting. It's staying. Staying the course when the excitement fades. When it gets boring. When it gets hard. That's where discipline steps in. Because motivation may get you going, but discipline is what keeps you growing. Jim Rohn understood this deeply. He said that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Not once in a while. Every day. That's where most people go wrong. They think they need massive action or some breakthrough moment. But in reality, it's the small, almost invisible choices that shape your future. Choosing to get up early, choosing to make the call, choosing to skip the junk food. These things don't seem like much in the moment, but repeated consistently, they create momentum. And momentum is what moves you forward. On the flip side, neglect is also easy. It's easy to skip the workout, easy to put off the project, easy to scroll instead of study. And the tragedy is, you don't feel the consequences immediately. That's why neglect is so dangerous. Because it's silent. It creeps in without setting off any alarms. But over time, those small acts of laziness or procrastination stack up just like discipline does. Except instead of creating success, they create regret. And as Jim said, regret weighs tons. Discipline is about choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to your dreams. It's training your mind to value long-term gain over short-term pleasure. And the more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it gets. And when discipline becomes a habit, life gets easier, not harder. Because you no longer rely on willpower. You've built systems. You've built strength. Another powerful thing about discipline is that it builds self-respect. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted, and that builds confidence. Not arrogance. Confidence. The kind that says, if I say I'll do it, I'll do it. That kind of self-belief is worth more than talent or intelligence, because it creates consistency. And consistency is what produces real results. Discipline also creates freedom. That sounds backwards to some people because they think discipline means restriction. But actually, it's the opposite. Discipline with your finances gives you financial freedom. Discipline with your health gives you energy and longevity. Discipline with your time gives you the freedom to focus on what matters. It's not about being strict for the sake of it. It's about setting up your life so that you're in control, not your impulses. You don't have to be perfect to be disciplined. You just have to be committed. You'll slip up. You'll miss a day. That's normal. But discipline means getting back on track quickly. It means keeping the vision in front of you and refusing to quit. It's not about doing extraordinary things. It's about doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. Success is rarely the result of one big moment or one life-changing decision. More often, it's the product of simple, consistent actions taken day after day. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic, but it works. Simple daily habits create long-term success. This principle is at the heart of everything Jim Rohn taught. He understood that greatness doesn't come from doing something massive once. It comes from doing something small consistently, with purpose and intention. Most people underestimate the power of small actions. They think if something isn't big, it doesn't matter. But the truth is, success is found in the details. It's found in the daily decision to read 10 pages of a good book, in waking up 30 minutes earlier to plan your day, in choosing water over soda, in making that extra phone call. Each of these things by itself may seem insignificant, but repeated every day, they compound. Just like money grows with interest, so do your habits. And over time, they shape your mindset, your results, and ultimately your life. Consistency is the real secret. Anyone can do something great once. But can you do something good every day? That's what separates winners from wishers. It's easy to write in your journal when you're inspired. It's harder to do it when you're tired. It's easy to go to the gym the first week of January. It's harder in the middle of March. But that's the test. Can you stay committed when the feelings fade? Can you be disciplined when no one's watching? That's where character is built. Jim Rohn often said that failure is just a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And success, a few simple disciplines practiced every day. The key word in both is every. Not once in a while. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel like it. Every day. That's how habits are formed. That's how confidence is built. That's how dreams are achieved. Step by step, not leap by leap. What makes daily habits so powerful is that they don't require talent. You don't need to be a genius to follow through. You just need to decide that your future is worth the effort. You need to value progress over perfection. Some days you won't get it all right. That's okay. The goal is not to be flawless. It's to be faithful. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Keep planting the seeds, even when you don't see the results yet. Because the harvest only comes after a season of steady sowing. The beauty of small habits is that they're sustainable. Massive effort burns people out. But small steps, you can keep going. And when you stack those small wins, your belief grows. You start to see that change is possible. You start to feel more in control. And that feeling builds momentum. Momentum creates energy. And energy keeps you moving forward, even when the path is hard. You also start to develop something even more valuable than success. You develop self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. That inner trust becomes the foundation for everything else. It gives you the strength to take risks, to set bigger goals, to dream a little bolder. Because you know you'll follow through. Success isn't something you arrive at. It's something you build, brick by brick, through the small choices you make every single day. It's not the big leaps that change your life. It's the consistent steps in the right direction. And the best part, you can start those steps today. Most people think they get paid for their time. They show up to work, put in the hours, and expect a paycheck in return. But the truth is, you don't get paid for the time you put in. You get paid for the value you bring to that time. This simple shift in thinking can change your entire career, your income, and even your future. Time is constant, but value is what makes time meaningful. Two people can work the same 8 hours, but one earns significantly more. Why? Because they bring more value to those 8 hours. Jim Rohn taught that the marketplace doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. It doesn't reward time. It rewards contribution. If you want to earn more, you have to become more valuable. That doesn't mean working yourself into exhaustion. It means improving your thinking, developing your skills, and becoming someone who solves bigger problems. Because the bigger the problem you solve, the more you're worth. It's not about being busier. It's about being better. Think about it, a janitor and a CEO both put in long hours, but their compensation is drastically different. That's not about fairness. It's about value. The CEO is responsible for bigger decisions, higher risk, and more complexity. They've developed their leadership, judgment, and ability to think strategically. That didn't happen overnight. It happened because they made the decision to grow. You can make that decision too. Becoming more valuable is a personal responsibility. It doesn't come from your manager, your company, or the economy. It comes from you. And the great thing is, it's available to anyone. You don't need permission to read a book, take a course, or study your craft. You don't need a degree to become excellent at what you do. Value is something you create. You build it by investing in yourself, your attitude, your work ethic, your communication, your reliability, your ability to solve problems and lead others. The marketplace is always watching. It notices when someone consistently brings more to the table, when someone goes the extra mile, delivers quality work, and does it with a good attitude, Those are the people who get noticed, promoted, and rewarded. And it works the same in business. If you're an entrepreneur, your income is a reflection of how much value your product or service brings to others. You're not rewarded for starting a business. You're rewarded for making other people's lives better, easier, or more enjoyable. The question to ask yourself every day is not, how many hours did I put in? The question is, what did I create? Who did I help? What problems did I solve? That's where real worth comes from. You can always increase your value by becoming more skilled, more knowledgeable, more resourceful, more adaptable. And when you increase your value, the world tends to pay attention. Adding value isn't just about doing your job well. It's about going beyond what's expected. It's about taking initiative, being creative, and showing leadership even when it's not required. When you do that, you separate yourself from the average. You become indispensable. And that's when doors begin to open. Not because someone handed you a break, but because you became the kind of person who earns them. This mindset not only increases your income, but also your self-worth. When you focus on value, you stop worrying about time clocks and start thinking like a creator. You become someone who sees opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of complaints. That shift is powerful, because the more value you create, the more valuable your time becomes, not just to others, but to yourself. Most people spend their lives chasing success. They run after money, happiness, recognition, hoping that if they just work harder or get lucky, those things will finally show up. But Jim Rohn taught a different way. He said wealth and happiness are not things you pursue. They are things you attract by the person you become. That one shift in perspective changes everything. It takes the focus off external rewards and puts it back where it belongs, on your own growth and character. When you chase success, you're always trying to catch something outside of you. It's like running after the wind. You might catch it for a moment, but it slips away. Maybe you hit a financial goal or get a promotion, but it doesn't last. Why? Because success gained without personal growth is temporary. It's like putting expensive furniture in a weak house. It may look good for a while, but eventually the foundation gives out. Real, lasting success comes when you've built a strong foundation through self-discipline, personal development, and intentional living. Happiness works the same way. Many people think they'll be happy when they have more money, more time, more approval. But happiness doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from alignment. When your actions, values, and goals are all working together, you become someone who lives with purpose, contributes meaningfully, and takes responsibility for your life. That kind of happiness isn't based on circumstances. It's based on who you are, and that means it lasts. Wealth, too, is a byproduct of value. If you become more valuable to others by solving problems, leading well, or creating something useful, wealth is drawn to you. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. You grow, your thinking expands, you act with greater wisdom and clarity, and over time, the world responds to that. You don't have to beg for opportunity. It begins to find you. People notice. They trust you. They want to work with you. That's attraction, not pursuit. This way of thinking also gives you power. If you believe success is something you chase, you're always dependent on something or someone outside yourself. But if you understand that success is something you attract, then you realize the power is in your hands. Every day becomes a chance to grow, to learn, to become better. And with each improvement, you shift your position in life. You rise by earning it from the inside out. It also removes the desperation. When you chase something, you often come off as needy or anxious. That energy repels success rather than attracts it. But when you focus on becoming your best self, you develop quiet confidence. You're no longer trying to prove your worth. You know your worth. And that kind of calm assurance is magnetic. It draws people in. It builds trust. It opens doors. The truth is, attraction isn't passive. It's not about sitting back and hoping things will come to you. It's about active, intentional personal growth. It's about showing up, doing the work, and committing to becoming the kind of person who naturally experiences success and happiness. That doesn't mean life becomes easy, but it does become more meaningful. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. This principle also brings peace of mind. When you realize that your future is shaped by who you become, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about what you can't control. You focus on your own path. You set your own standard. And over time, as you develop into a wiser, stronger, more capable person, you look around and notice that wealth and happiness have begun to show up without the chase. In the end, wealth and happiness are not rewards handed out by luck or chance. They are earned through growth, discipline, and the value you bring to the world. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because who you become is far more important than what you do. Build your life on small, daily disciplines, and stay consistent even when no one is watching. Choose personal development over comfort, and remember that success is not pursued. It is attracted. If you want to change your life, change yourself first, and everything else will begin to fall into place.